the actual technique isn't hard to do. You can learn it in 3 steps to teach it to a brand new person who comes in. The hard bit, of course, as with a lot of things, is doing it in sparring. And the key is getting in here. If you have a sort of semi-decent half side mount here, but he's got a frame or semblance of a frame, anything, it's very hard to disguise this. And even if you're successful on this, he's not going to let you. And then how are you going to get the step over choke? Because I'm all the way down here. So if you think all your position, it's the ultimate in position before submission. You cannot get a submission. But what you can do is work a little harder. So say you've got this. I'm not even going to go for that particular finish when he's got a frame here. What I can do is start playing around with knee on belly. Because look, he's got the frame, but he hasn't got rid of this. And now that he's worrying about something else. So from here, you can start working your knee on belly chokes like this. Okay, it's not quite what I wanted to show you, but you might as well play with it. So anyway, let's look at something else. There is a technique from here when you have got the grip here, is that you are finger palm up, you slide in underneath here, and then you're here. You have a choice, you can do the knee on belly version or just do the pricing version. And it's the same thing, I'm rotating my body that way. This time there's no step, but it serves the same purpose. Remember, the step was merely to create a block and a rotation. With this grip, I'll do it lightly, very nasty. I'm rotating my body, and I won't even get, I'll get the strand before, but if you think ultimately I do want to step into my head in a sort of semi-north-south position. I'll show you the actual finish. Same as before, the setup is exactly the same. Here, alright, but you leave a gap here. You can see that gap here. Just enough. You have a choice. You could do the step over choke, but you're thinking the moment I start switching, he's going to start framing and he's going to start escaping. You can sense it. So here, hand blocking here. He's not worried about anything, he's not sensing his hand. It's underneath, see, he's crawling on here. So I'm keeping everything covert until you can get the baseball bat grip. This grip. Okay. Job's not done yet, he can still. But if anything, he's panicking, he starts to frame with his other hand. This is fine, it gives me room to drop my elbow down, keep the pressure on him, and then I'm going almost like I'm going north-south. I say I'm going to get a choke before you get step over. And you're driving this elbow to the ground while pulling here. And I'm trying to show you a way you can do it in a realistic way in sparring. Let's assume we've got as far as this. This bit is quite easy. I get this all the time. Finishing it is harder. And here, here, good. I got what I want. Now it's a matter of keeping pressure. If you do this and do that, he's out of here. Because there's no weight on here, even though I've got the grip. You have to. Okay. Maybe you can do it from knee or belly as well. Do it from here, giving him something else to think about. He doesn't like the knee. He's got to decide now. You defend the neck or the knee or belly. Straight still. I don't even have to put weight on him now. Once I've got the tightness, I can do like an upside down version, like that. There are many sort of permutations of this once I've got the tight enough grip. Anyone want to see the grip position again? Because that's something I don't often teach. No Nick likes this one. You've got this one, yeah? Ultimately, all you're doing is taking this arm, putting it here. The trick is getting it there without him preventing you. So here, stage 1, block your head. It's a very common position. Remember, we can do all of this. Good. Keep the weight on, and then you're rotating. Just a few reps each, guys, then we'll move on because it's very nasty on the neck. Yeah? Let's go. See that record? So by popular request, we're going to do what Nick said he wanted to do. So maybe you want to watch this, or you know this already, you want to practice it, or Lucas. Other side, so you can see okay. So all these lapel things take a little bit of trickery. Because if you just sort of lie there going, no, it's just too obvious. Right? So you've got to remember the basics. Get really high up. Don't forget your shoulder pressure, maybe a little knee pressure, something to think about. And if this becomes available, make sure you do it so that he can't really stop you from doing so. And one of the best ways is, of course, the shoulder of justice. There you go. And he's not going to stop you. Especially if you now have a choice. If he's preventive, keeps his elbow down, he's thinking, you're not going to do that one. Well, just go over. And then you have a different style of choke here. And it goes over the arm, or even if his arm's not there, it doesn't matter, because I've got what I want here. This one needs to be a tight, very, very tight, because you cannot let the arm go. Right? This one we're going around, we're just doing north-south. That's version 1. Version 2, remember this all stems from a very, very tight, high side position, creating, look, notice how I drop my leg, turning my shoulder in. This time I'm going to go here. See this? Maybe you can't see it. Maybe he does block it. I can put it in the knee belly. Over. This is even tighter. It's so tight, I'm not sure I can succeed because I've got a very short game, so I'm going to hold it right at the edge. Hand on the other side. This is a very fundamental part of this style of lapel choke. And again, spin round, north south. Very nasty. Maybe a step over if you want to. So, 2 variations. Nick loves these ones. Do not spar with him, man. As soon as you start feeling him fiddling with his gi or your gi, just tap. It's not nice. The first one, remember this, the previous one went under the arm. His preventive goes over. The second one uses your gi, and you really only have a choice of going over. If you go underneath, it's too short. Okay. Start off without all the covert activity, because that comes a bit later with your gamesmanship. That's really hard to do. Start off with learning the technique first of all. So the first one is, just nice and relaxed, tap it over, get used to that spinning over. And the second one uses that. If you're good at that, then we'll show you the ninja roll.
On the first one, does it matter if his hand comes out, or does it have to be in there?
If it comes out, then it's too slack.
Okay.
So I guess you would have the option of abandoning or tightening it.
Okay.
But if it does come out, I guess what you could say is, what's the worst that could happen? Well, he's not going to get rid of this. So now you feed it through, make it even tighter, and he can be fraying what he likes, north-south.
Could you go for a baseball bat as well?
You could, yes, but I think that's usually good enough. Worst case, I transition to north-south or side on the other side, and he's always doing that. Try it, and then we'll see how we go on that one. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.